What if I told you that a seismic shift is about to shake the foundations of Hollis Hall? Do you feel that chill in the air, Bears fans? It's not just a wind, it's the scent of change, and lurking in the shadows is a name that could transform this franchise. Yes, I'm talking about a player who once roamed the fields of the NFC North, leaving defenders quaking in their cleats. I know you're on the edge of your seat, so hit that like button, subscribe for every earth-shattering update, and let us know, are you ready to see the Bears rise from the ashes of mediocrity into a new era of dominance? Rumors are swirling. My friends, secret whispers from inside the league are echoing in the hallways of our beloved Bears facility. There's talk, hushed yet electrifying, about a veteran presence that could redefine our edge rush and elevate our defense from good to downright terrifying. We're not talking about just any player. Sources are hinting at a familiar face, a force of nature, a man who brings not just skill, but heart, a dynamic game changer who made waves in Detroit and left a lasting legacy in Green Bay. You know where I'm going with this. The buzz centers around Za'Darius Smith. That's right, the former Packer, the guy who has experienced the highs of division rivalries, the agony of defeats, and the glory of sacks that have rattled quarterbacks' bones. Why does this matter? So much, you ask? Well, let's dive in. Bringing Smith into the fold doesn't just add depth to our edge rushing game. It changes our entire defensive scheme. Picture this. Za'Darius paired up with Montez Sweat, a duo that could send shivers down the spines of any opposing offense. Can you feel the palpable excitement? It's like the echoes of the past coming back alive, the spirit of Urlacher, the ferocity of Mack, the memories of glory woven into the fabric of a Bears defense that once ruled the league. And yet, with this thrilling possibility comes a storm of uncertainty. What if this gamble pays off? Imagine Za'Darius erupting onto the Soldier Field turf, feasting on quarterbacks while solidifying his fan-favorite status among the Bear faithful. You can see it now, the sea of navy and orange erupting in a chorus of chants, just like in days gone by. Or, and this is the kicker, what if it all goes south? The weight of expectations can be heavy, and what if Za'Darius can't rekindle that magic? He's had his share of injuries, and we all know that the game can be unforgiving. What if the move ends up costing us more than we ever bargained for? Can you handle the pressure, the heart-stopping tension that comes when we stake our future on the shoulders of a 32-year-old edge rusher? The clock's ticking, and the emotional stakes have never been higher. The winds of change are here, and with every rumor that swirls, a new chapter approaches for the monsters of the Midway. As we await the answer to this tantalizing question, I can promise you one thing. This isn't the end. No, my friends, it's just the beginning, and I sense an impending storm brewing, one that could shatter expectations or fulfill dreams. Brace yourselves. The next part is going to hit like a freight train. Stay close, because you won't want to miss what comes next, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. Now's the time to stand up and demand that the Chicago Bears live up to the legacy etched into every blade of grass at Soldier Field, into every heart that beats for this team. Every single one of us who went through the agonizing heartbreak of 2010, when we watched the NFC Championship slip through our fingers like grains of sand, or those crushing moments in 2018 when all it took was a double doink to remind us that glory is always just out of reach. We need to channel that pain, that deep-seated ferocity that defines what it means to be a Bears fan. We've worn our scars with pride, stitched into our souls by the ghosts of Walter Payton, Mike Singletary, and Brian Urlacher, guiding us through the darkest nights. But let's not kid ourselves. My fellow fans, this franchise stands at a crossroads, teetering on the edge of either rising from the ashes or spiraling into another pit of despair. Now, imagine if this year could be the year. The management has made whispers about rebuilding, but are we really prepared to accept that? Who's holding the reins on this ship sailing a stormy sea? Because if we don't act now, if we don't rally behind that proud blue and orange, we might find ourselves staring into the abyss. that dark expanse echoing the terrible memories of 2006 when edge-of-your-seat anticipation turned into gut-wrenching defeat. It's borderline maddening when the locker room is buzzing with uncertainty. You can practically hear the murmurs growing louder every day. Some players believe this team is on the cusp of greatness, while others fear the familiar tightness in their chests, the anxiety rising like a tide with every tick of the clock. And can we ignore how the Packers are licking their chops, scoffing at our struggles, seeing us as a feast to be devoured? Or what about the Lions and Vikings? They smell blood, and we're just sitting here letting them arm wrestle with our legacy like it's a casual weekend game. If we keep ignoring the glaring cracks, how many more seasons will we waste wrestling with demons we thought were buried? But what if, just what if, this is the dawn of a new era? A fresh roster that could shift lure rich with pride, turning those flickers of hope into roaring flames. We've seen flashes of brilliance that remind us of Devin Hester dazzling under the lights, a quicksilver bolt of electricity tearing through the opposition. And I remember the echoes of 1985, a time when everything aligned and the Bears weren't just a team. They were a phenomenon. Yet now, here we stand, confronted by the specter of disappointment that lingers like the biting wind off the lake in late November, the chill snaking its way through our bones like ice and fear. The clock is ticking, and behind the scenes, the front office is tangled in decisions that could shape the next decade. Is this the moment they embrace a bold new identity, or retreat back to the shadows of mediocrity? And speaking of shadows, imagine if the chaos rashly unfurls, leading to yet another disastrous finish, with the kind of desperate, bewildered plays that leave us shaking our heads in complete disbelief? Picture it, that tension in the air, thicker than fog rolling off Lake Michigan, the stadium's roar fading into an eerie silence, and us, the diehards, left standing in unison questioning how we continuously find ourselves ensnared in this labyrinth of anguish. The kettle is boiling, and we can't afford to let the flame die down. The passion needs a place to channel, to explode. So here's my challenge to all you devoted Bears fans. Unleash that ferocity inside of you, because we no longer have the luxury of patience. Do we dare allow the historical narrative to blur and fade? Or do we seize this moment, the very essence of what it means to be a Bear? What will define this team, defeat or resurrection? And when the dust settles, we look back and see a phoenix or a hollow season lost to time's cruel grip. No more waiting. Rise up. The time is now. Let's reclaim our pride.